There's no reason to panic. But the other two pilots are just fine. They're at the controls flying the plane, free to pursue a life of religious fulfillment.
Airplane wasn't just a movie, it was an emergency landing into absolute absurdity. A dead serious spoof that crash landed into comedy history. But behind those cockpit doors, things got a lot messier. A basketball legend collapsed on set. The studio tried to kill the film before takeoff. And one airline, they nearly sued over a joke that hit too close to home. These are 15 weird facts about Airplane. But wait until the end, because the bonus fact, it's so surreal, so unexpected. They cut it before it ever left the gate. So sit back, put your life on autopilot, because what's coming, it's a lot stranger than fiction. Number 1. For all its absurdity, Airplane actually has a surprisingly serious origin, because underneath the gags, the inflatable pilot, and the jive talk, it's a remake. Back in the late 70s, Jim Abrahams and the Zucker brothers stumbled on a forgotten 1957 drama called 0 Hour during a late-night TV binge. A dead serious film about food poisoning on a flight, a haunted war veteran forced to land the plane, and yes, even a character named Ted Stryker. The trio didn't just spoof it, they bought the rights, then used entire lines of dialogue, word for word. Even the camera angles and lighting recreated almost exactly from 0 Hour. So when you're laughing at lines like "I am serious" and "Don't call me Shirley," remember this, they didn't invent the drama, they just flipped it upside down.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Number 2. He didn't speak, he didn't blink, but somehow, Otto the inflatable autopilot became one of Airplane's most iconic characters. What most fans don't realize, Otto wasn't powered by machinery, puppetry, or clever effects. He was kept standing by one thing, a bicycle pump. Between takes, crew members would crouch below the seat and manually inflate Otto through a valve. And that valve? Let's just say it was strategically placed for maximum awkwardness. Actors had to keep a straight face as Otto wobbled to life, air hissing, plastic groaning, while the pump wheezed from between his legs. It was crude, it was cheap, and it was perfect. Because in a movie full of visual chaos, nothing deflated expectations quite like Otto. Number 3. It's one of the most infamous moments in Airplane. A woman runs screaming through the chaos and flashes the camera, bare-chested, mid-panic. For the filmmakers, it was a throwaway gag. For the studio, a crisis. Executives were horrified. They feared it would push the film into an R rating, or worse, alienate audiences entirely. Paramount demanded it be cut, but the directors held firm and offered a compromise. Let the test audience decide. At the screening, when the moment hit, the crowd didn't groan. They howled, they clapped, they begged to rewind it. The studio backed off, the joke stayed in, and it became one of the film's most outrageous and oddly beloved moments. Sometimes in comedy, timing really is everything. Number 4. He was the face of authority. Mission Impossible classic TV hero. So when Peter Graves read the Airplane script, he froze. Turkish prisons, gladiator movies, delivered with a straight face to a child? To him, it wasn't comedy. It was career suicide. He rejected the role outright, but the directors had other plans. They didn't want a clown. They wanted credibility to carry chaos. Graves eventually said yes, with serious doubt. At the premiere, he braced for silence, or worse, groans. Instead, the audience erupted, and it didn't stop. Graves watched his fear turn into applause. He hadn't destroyed his image. He'd expanded it. The man who once feared the joke became part of its legend.
Joey, have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Number 5. Before Leslie Nielsen signed on, the role was offered to Christopher Lee, the legendary British actor known for Dracula, horror, and high drama. Lee read the script. He didn't get it. He passed. Instead, he took a role in Steven Spielberg's war comedy 1941, a film that fizzled while Airplane soared. Years later, Lee admitted the truth. Turning down Airplane wasn't just a missed opportunity. It was one of the biggest regrets of his career. Not every rejection leaves a scar, but this one left a laugh line that never healed. Number 6. Most films bring in lawyers after the shoot. Airplane needed one on set every single day. Why? Because the script was walking a legal tightrope. Whole scenes were lifted from 0 Hour. Dialogue echoed another studio's disaster franchise. Even the uniforms raised eyebrows. The line between parody and plagiarism was razor thin, and Paramount knew it. So they hired a legal consultant to watch every scene as it was filmed, checking scripts, reviewing costumes, flagging anything that might spark a lawsuit. It wasn't just a comedy, it was a legal balancing act in real time. And somehow, with every scene approved and every punchline cleared, the film managed to laugh its way across the line without getting grounded in court.
One thing, do you know what he had for dinner?
Yes, of course, we both had fish. Why?
We'll be back to you very quickly.
Number 7. Kareem AbdulJabbar didn't just act in Airplane, he nearly passed out doing it. In full pilot uniform, under brutal studio lights, the 7'2" NBA legend began sweating, and then collapsed, not once, but twice. The film's creators loved the surreal idea of casting a basketball star as a co-pilot, but the costume, the heat, and the tight quarters were more than even Kareem could handle. He powered through, finished the scene, and never complained. But behind that cool delivery was a man fighting the clock and the climate. Feeling a little turbulence yet? If these behind-the-scenes twists have caught you by surprise, go ahead and like and subscribe. It helps keep this channel flying high. We're only halfway down the runway, and trust me, what's coming next? It takes this flight straight into the absurd.
I thought you might like some coffee. Oh, that's very nice of you. Thank you. Cream? No, thank you. I take it black. Like my man.
Number 8. One of the film's most chaotic scenes didn't need extras because the crowd was real. With permission from airport security but no public announcement, the filmmakers captured shots using real passengers walking through LAX, unaware they were part of a major Hollywood comedy. Reactions were genuine movements unplanned. It was filmmaking on the fly, literally. Most of them didn't even realize what they were part of until the movie hit theaters. Sometimes the best background actors don't even know they're acting. Number 9. Before the jokes could land, the script got grounded repeatedly. Studios didn't know what to make of it. No traditional story arc, no clear genre, just deadpan dialogue, airplane food poisoning, and a romantic subplot interrupted by inflatable autopilots. Over 200 rejections later, Paramount finally gave it a green light, and even then, only after midnight meetings and cautious optimism. Today, that rejected script is taught in comedy writing classes, proof that sometimes the most absurd ideas just need time to get clearance. Number 10. Early screenings of Airplane were met with confusion. Jokes didn't land, audiences stayed quiet, the energy felt flat. So the filmmakers made a risky decision. Add cartoonish sound effects, boings, squeaks, crunches, splatters. It was a last-ditch effort to lighten the tone. The result? The laughs exploded. A tiny tweak turned deadpan silence into roaring comedy and proved that timing isn't just about delivery. It's about the sound of the punchline hitting home.
Is there anyone on board who can land this plane?
No, no one I know of.
Number 11. Today, it's hard to imagine Airplane without Leslie Nielsen's perfect poker face. But back then, he wasn't anyone's idea of funny. Known for stern, dramatic roles in films like The Poseidon Adventure, Nielsen had zero background in comedy, and that's exactly why he was cast. The filmmakers believed the key to absurdity was absolute sincerity. They didn't want comedians who delivered punchlines. They wanted actors who didn't even realize the line was a joke. Nielsen didn't just read the script straight. He treated it like Shakespeare. And the result? A career reborn and a legacy redefined.
Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry I have to wake you. You a doctor?
That's right.
Number 12. As the parody took shape, not everyone was laughing. One airline believed Airplane was a direct mockery of their brand. The similarity to the airport franchise, combined with uniform designs and specific scenes, sparked talk of a lawsuit. To avoid disaster, the filmmakers added a legal disclaimer clarifying it was all a parody, not based on any real airline. It worked. The suit was dropped, and Airplane kept flying, just barely missing a crash landing in court. Number 13. The King of Suspense. The man behind Jaws, E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark. Steven Spielberg wasn't known for slapstick, but when he saw Airplane, he couldn't stop laughing. After a private screening, Spielberg reportedly praised its precision, the pacing, the editing, the way every joke landed with surgical timing. He called it a perfect piece of American comedy. What shocked everyone? He told studio execs they had a huge hit on their hands before the box office even opened. Coming from the most respected filmmaker in Hollywood at the time, it meant everything. Spielberg's quiet approval gave the parody genre something it had never had before: respect. And from that point on, Airplane wasn't just a cult comedy, it became a classic. Number 14. She was Broadway royalty, belting show tunes, commanding the stage, a force of musical nature. But in Airplane, Ethel Murman's swan song was pure chaos. She played a wounded soldier who believed he was Ethel Murman, wig, makeup, and all. When the camera rolled, she sat up in bed and belted out "Everything's Coming Up Roses" in full voice, in full character, without warning. It was bizarre, it was hilarious, and it would be her last film role. Murman passed away just 4 years later in 1984, leaving behind a catalog of iconic performances. But for many fans, this final appearance, brief, bizarre, unforgettable, became her most unexpected legacy. A diva's final bow in a hospital bed, playing herself as someone else. Only Airplane could make that work.
Gonna have the whole world on a plate.
Number 15. Airplane was made for just $3.5 million. No stars, no explosions, no expectations. But when it hit theaters, it exploded. It earned over $170 million, becoming one of the highest-grossing films of 1980, second only to The Empire Strikes Back in the comedy category. It even out-earned The Blues Brothers, a movie with more stars, more music, and 10 times the hype. Not bad for a spoof that nearly never got made. Bonus fact: of all the scenes written for Airplane, the one that never made it to air might be the most bizarre. It was a full courtroom sequence, where the airline faced a fictional lawsuit for the events of the movie, and presiding over the case, the adult cast of Leave It to Beaver. Yes, Jerry Mathers, Tony Dow, Barbara Billingsley, all in character, all sitting in judgment. It was surreal, it was hilarious, and it was too weird even for Airplane. Test audiences didn't laugh, they stared in silence, so the scene was quietly grounded. But for those who saw the early cut, it remains the strangest crossover. That almost happened at 30,000 feet. Airplane was supposed to be a quick joke, a one-off spoof, a late-night laugh, but what came out of it was something far bigger. It launched careers, flipped Hollywood expectations, and rewrote how we think about parody. Behind every absurd line was a risk. Behind every laugh, a story of rejection, heatstroke, lawsuits, or unexpected brilliance. If this made you see the film in a whole new way, go ahead and subscribe. Let us know in the comments which fact totally threw you for a loop, because sometimes the movies that feel the silliest are the ones that worked hardest to land safely.